Yeah, we really I really encourage sort of truth to power. We are brutal with each other, but then most of the Deep Green management team I've worked with for more than 10 years. My wife calls us the genius donkey sanctuary, because it's all of us have worked with each other in different businesses for sometimes more than 10 years, but we all know each other. So there's a respect, of course there's a respect, but there's a brutal clarity that is really useful when you know you're communicating an idea in words of less than 2 syllables, but there's no ego in there. You're not being horrible. You're just trying to get to a truth as quickly as possible. I love the book, The Hard Thing About Hard Things. I don't know whether, I'm sure a lot of your audience will know it, but it's Andreessen's book and it's so good. And it's all about hiring your head of sales, and also that evolution through that. I gave it to one of a good friend I've known for 15 years. He's now our CMO, and I gave it to him to read before he started at Deep Green. And it says how to fire your best mate who you've got in at this stage of the business, and then you have to eject them because they can't grow into the next phase of the business. And he sort of, but it is a. Yeah, sales particularly is, and the book has got a whole appendix about how you hire sales specifically. It is in a startup, but so much of sales in a startup is because you actually don't know what you're trying to sell to whom. The reality is a lot of people are hiring somebody in sales and marketing, when really the question they need to ask is what am I trying to sell and to whom? Because once you really know that, then it's an easier game.
Yeah, that's why the early sales hires, to the extent that they can wear the hat of part-time product manager, to understand the feature requests that they've heard 3-4 times already that they're not closing deals because of, they really need to push back to the CTO, the technical founder, the CEO of the company, and say, hey, look, there's $1.5 million in pipeline that's not closing because we're missing this. What do we have to do to make this a priority to deliver this? Because they've told me not only are they going to jump on board, but they said each of them have told me they have 2 or 3 friends in similar companies. So there's definitely being able to cross-disciplinary, multifunctionary across a full go-to-market function. The smaller the company, the more vital it is.
The easier it is. Yeah. It's the role of sales. I was very keen to hire a head of sales, a CRO in Deep Green right at the beginning, and I'm glad we didn't, because I think, as you say, you learn. I'm a big fan of that rework principle as well, which is you learn your craft and then you hand it over. And I think smaller teams learning their craft and then really knowing what they're doing before they then hand over and scale is part of the joy of this phase of the business. Yeah.
And the challenge is that there's not wide agreement on what product market fit and what go-to-market fit really looks like. There's actually a lot of disagreement among how it's actually interpreted. I always tell people that look at your case studies. Can you build an ideal client profile off of that? Or are they all over the place?
Yes. Yes. And I mean, one of the joys of the data center industry is that, having built software businesses and other businesses, at least in the data center industry, it's only power and build cost. It is a relatively, at its most pragmatic, if you distill it down, it is relatively. There are fewer levers to pull, I would say, than some businesses. We think. I always like to think very simply about anything, and in our world it really is how much you can build a megawatt of a data center for and how much is your power cost, and those are, of course there's a million other variables, but those really are the two levers that you've got to pull.